Lovely people, and welcome. Sorry I haven't done a video in a while. I was unwell for a little bit, lost a couple of weekends to that, and I can only do this on weekends since I work full-time and commute 4 hours a day. So this is what it is. For today's video, what I'm doing is actually my art class homework. I am taking an art class that's Anatomy for Artists, and we're working on hands right now, and the homework basically is to take pictures of hands and using tracing paper work out the three-dimensional forms, simplified blocky forms, to understand how they fit together. And so that first one was just simply doing the forms. On this second one, I go a little bit more in depth, and so in addition to doing the blocked out forms, I start with the blocked out forms. I'm also looking at the two major fat layers in the palm and how that sits, and also the bone structure. Understanding how the skeletal structure underlays the form goes a long way to understanding what is and isn't anatomically possible. I referred back to a Skelly app for the actual shapes of the bones because I wanted to do them more finely refined than just blocky rectangular blocks. So I went in and did all the bones underneath and the two major fat pads in the palms, and then I decided to go in with watercolor pencils without the tracing underlay and just do the same thing, referring to the photograph, with watercolor pencils, and see if I could apply what I had learned in the exercise. So here I am. I'm starting out by just doing the blocky forms, and of course I'm not going to put in the skeleton here. Disregard the noises of my cat. She's investigating a box in the background. And trying to play a little bit with the colors of the skin. It's not very exact, but it's got some implications for shadowy areas, pinker areas, and just trying to make the three-dimensional shape and the proportions be reasonably accurate. This is a little tricky because of the foreshortening and the bent over fingers. That made it an interesting thing to do. And so I'm working with watercolor pencils and an aqua pen. So this is the aqua pen, and it's filled with water. Water comes out the brush, and then the watercolor pencils are the watercolors on the paper from the pencils are activated with the water from the brush and work like regular watercolors. So I had a lot of fun with this. I've been learning a ton with this class. It's really, really useful to go in and look at the anatomical structures in order to understand. Hands are very complicated. This class is head and neck, hands and feet. We've completed the head section, and feet will be coming up next. I don't know if I'm going to actually film any of that. We'll probably be doing pretty much similar things, but the hands I thought are the most, well, faces are pretty interesting too, but hands are really interesting from a complication and just how different all the hand positions are. And so it was fun to do this and look at it and play around with trying to do some actual drawings in addition, or paintings and drawings in addition to the very mechanical lessons. And then here for the third one, I didn't do the skeleton in this, but I focused a little more on the foreshortening. The pinky is very foreshortened. It's coming out close to directly at the camera. And then the fat pads in the palms are very clearly defined, so that was fun to do and to look at. And you'll notice every now and then I'm actually just feeling in my, since this is a photograph of my own hand, I'm feeling in my own hand and referring to it occasionally just to see where things are. And also occasionally looking underneath the layover. And then again for this, I decided to, after I did the exercise, try to do a drawing of it without the tracing method and just apply what I learned. And start by sketching in the blocky simplified shapes and the planes, the different planes of the hand, and then I did this in charcoal, and then I did a bunch of shading with it. You'll notice the palm is pretty bad right now. I fixed that later. The bottom side of the palm, where it hits the table, is much too short, and I move it down along, make it more in proportion a little bit later. So I spent a lot of time on the thumb. I was very not happy with the thumb, so I did a lot of erase and redraw and erase and redraw because I didn't get it exactly right at the beginning. I'm pretty okay with it in the end. And then something's a little funky where the middle finger, sorry, the pinky meets the palm. There is a little puff of, you know, when you fold the hand over, you get little ridges in the palm, and that didn't come out quite right. But I'm learning. And then I went over it. I decided to ink it rather than leaving it as charcoal, although I had originally planned on doing it as charcoal. I ended up going in with ink and just doing hatching to do the shadows instead of the shading I had done with the charcoal. So I went in and did a whole lot of shadowing, referring to the reference picture, then erased all of the charcoal out from underneath it so I could see what I actually had. Then I went back in with another pen. This is a brush pen. I can get a little more. Actually, no, this is the fine tip one. I have the fine tip one and a fairly fine brush pen that I used in this. So here we have the final result. Well, not quite. I went back and filled with it a little more. But I've learned a ton. My skills in drawing hands is hugely better than it used to be. And I'm very, very happy with how much I've been learning from this class. So, as always, thank you so much for coming and listening to me talk about learning how to art. I hope that everybody who comes enjoys this. Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoy it. And take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and be well. Thank you so much.